Okay, so luckily the 30-page document is not all verbiage. Most of it is exhibits. So the receiver is coming to talk about the 7 entities that he wants included because he believes this is a single enterprise. He says, even if you want to argue that it's not a single enterprise based on the sheer volume of transfers between these entities, let's talk about something else. He said, okay, there was 2 transactions, 2 convertible notes between Uncle Nearest and this company MP10 TNN LLC. So that totaled $20 million. So this is where we get into, I had the question of Fawn saying that she sold her shares to pay the farm credit and infuse money into Uncle Nearest. So with this is going to get a little bit into the weeds. So the MP10 made a loan to Uncle Nearest, and they had the ability to convert that debt into shares of the company. The company MP10 did decide to take those shares of Uncle Nearest stock, which who knows what that's worth right now. So before they converted it to ownership of stock, it was simply a loan, and he provides the loan documents is one of his exhibits. They funded the loans to Uncle Nearest. Those funds were immediately transferred by Uncle Nearest to a bank account established by Grant Sidney under the direction of the CEO, Fawn Weaver. This is where I had heard, but I wasn't sure. Fawn testified that she moved the money herself from Uncle Nearest to Grant Sidney. And this is her justification for that. This is her justification for that. And this is her direct testimony at the hearing. She says, it was specifically your firm, referring to McGuire Woods, which is the law firm for Farm Credit, that was quite aggressive during this window of time where the money was being received. Very aggressive. So along with my board and financial advisors, we made the decision to make sure the $20 million coming in could not be snatched by you. She goes on to say, so yes, we brought it into an account that was set up solely for this transaction. It has never been used before, and you all have the bank statements. It had never been used before. It's never been used after. So the transfer was used as a pass-through and as a pass-through only. If the loan money was to infuse funds into Uncle Nearest, why did you take it out of Uncle Nearest to put it back into Uncle Nearest? The receiver puts this in his footnotes. The receiver acknowledges that there was an agreement in place between Grant Sidney and Uncle Nearest, whereby Grant Sidney would surrender an equal number of shares back to Uncle Nearest upon the MP10 LLC's election, but only when and if that occurred. Grant Sidney today has the same number of shares in Uncle Nearest that it did prior to this transaction. So you sold your shares or no, is what he's saying. He says Ms. Weaver has admitted on multiple occasions that she used Grant Sidney as a pass-through or holding company for funds belonging to Uncle Nearest. She has further admitted that Grant Sidney opened a bank account without any business function for Grant Sidney itself. This transaction alone breaks the corporate formalities for both Grant Sidney and Uncle Nearest, and is clear evidence that the 2 companies were being operated as a single entity. Girl, you done did it now. He says she used Grant Sidney solely for the reason that Farm Credit would not be able to reach those funds. He goes on to talk about the bank statements that he did not receive. He says that it took 2 days after the hearing for him to receive the additional bank statements that he asked for months ago. So he includes that as an exhibit that the lawyers did send those to him 2 days after. And then he goes into the Shelbyville Grand foreclosure and talks about how the other related entities are mismanaged, and he's trying to safeguard as many assets as he can, but it's hard because everybody's broke. He goes on to talk about the alter ego standard, and he says that the 7 related entities owned, managed, or controlled by Fawn and Keith have nearly 500 intercompany transfers. 500. The receiver concludes by saying, she already admitted that it's a pass through. I don't know what else you want me to say. All these things need to be included. Bruh, they need to be included. So he's leaving it up to the judge to decide. So we'll see what he says.